Hello everyone. Welcome to the lecture summary video of Cohort 12 Semester 1. The module is Introduction to Business Operations Management, BMM 3003. My name is Hajirah Farooq, and in this video we will be discussing the week 1, 2, and 3 of this module. So we started off the week 1 with an icebreaker activity where we discussed what the business means and what does the terminology of business operations management mean. And then we discussed the learning outcomes of this module. So this module has 4 learning outcomes that include demonstrating an understanding of business operations and management, explaining the key concepts of effective operation strategy, explaining the role and scope of business management, and the contextualization of knowledge within a real business. After that, we discussed the things that we were going to be learning, and that was, of course, the learning outcome 1. And we discussed what we will be able to accomplish by the end of that lesson. And then we discussed a few things, few basic things, such as what is business, and we discussed a few definitions of business and the different types of um, commodities that we sell within a business. Then we discussed the differences between the products and services. For example, the products are tangible, whereas the services are intangible. Products are imperishable, whereas the services are perishable, so on and so forth. Then we discussed why do businesses exist, which is a very interesting question, and we had a little class discussion on this topic. Um, and then we discussed what is business operations management. So we discussed with the class that business operations management is basically the administration of business practices to create the highest level of efficiency possible within an organization, and also that it is concerned with converting materials and labors into goods and services as efficiently as possible to maximize the profit of an organization. Then we discussed a few of the main business objectives, which included 6 of them, uh, namely survival, profitability, customer satisfaction, social responsibility, growth, and stability. And these objectives were discussed in further detail in the next few slides, as you can see here. Um, and then we watched a short video about the introduction to business objectives. And yeah, so here you can see the video. And then we did a little activity where the students had to answer a few questions after watching that particular video. And that's it. These are the references. Moving on to the week 2. So in the second week, we got ourselves familiarized with Moodle, and we made sure that everyone's logged into their Moodles, and we did a few Moodle engagement activities like the pre-class activities and the post-class activities. We got to know about them. Then we had a little revision about the learning outcomes again. And then uh, we discussed the topics that we will be covering throughout that particular session, which included things like supply chain, logistics, production functions, quality control processes, and a case study on quality control. So, starting off with the supply chain management, we discussed that the supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods and services, and it includes all the processes that transform raw materials into final products. It involves this active streamlining of a business's supply side activities to maximize customer value and gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Then we further discussed the concept of supply chain management, and we also watched a video regarding this topic, as you can see here. And yeah, here. And then we went for another video about understanding the supply chain through a practical example of a company called Cinnamon. And then we moved on to the topic of logistics. So we learned about how businesses get the right goods in the right quantity at the right time to the right place. And after an extensive discussion on the topic of logistics, we also watched a video about this topic for further understanding. And then we moved on to the topic of production. So we discussed that the production is the action of making or manufacturing from components or raw materials or the process of being so manufactured. And then we watched a video about production as well. As you can see here. And then we learned the four factors of production, which is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And after that, we discussed about what is the requirement for quality, what is the quality requirement. And had a little discussion about quality and quality control, where we discussed questions like why do we need quality in a product or service? And does the quality matter? And can we measure quality? How do you rate poor quality of a product or service? And what is the product quality and process quality? And then we discuss the definition of quality control process, which is that the quality control shows poor quality of project deliverables, the finished product or service to be delivered, and causes and will suggest changes in performance as and when necessary. We discussed a little more about the quality control process, and then we watched a video about the BMW 3 Series quality management. And then after that, we had a short case study on the quality control processes of Nestle Waters, which the students were supposed to read thoroughly and then uh, answer the questions provided to them. And then lastly, we'll move on to the week 3 slides. So in the third week, we again started off with the revision of the learning outcomes, and then we discussed the fact that by the end of the session, we will be able to understand the modern business environment and the role of business operations management in it. So we started off with the introduction of the concept of modern business environment, and then we had a little group discussion where we discussed in groups how modern business environment has evolved compared to the traditional business environment. And then we tried to understand the modern business environment. So we discussed that there's globalization going on, and then the technology is rapidly evolving, and the preferences of the consumer is changing very rapidly. The government policies are changing as well, and the operations management departments of any organization now more than ever focus on efficiency more than anything. The quality control has to be superior now. The innovations have to be really fast paced now. Supply chain management has to be very efficient. These are the things that we really need to take care of in the modern business environment. So moving on. Business operations in the modern business environment was discussed, and we discussed that how quickly the supply chains are going digital, computer-aided design and manufacturing is taking place, product life cycle is shrinking day by day, and the manufacturing is becoming more ethical and green as the time's going by. Furthermore, we discussed the same points in more detail. And as you can see here, and then we watched this video about Amazon. It was basically a case study about Amazon. The students were supposed to make pairs and they were supposed to watch this video and discuss how Amazon has adapted to the modern business environment within its supply chain and logistics. Um, that is all about the first 3 weeks of the module BMM 3003, Introduction to Business Operations and Management. I hope that you found it a little useful as a summary video. And if you need to learn anything further, then you can, of course, go to Moodle, download your lecture slides, and you can, of course, revise everything that you need to. Thank you so very much for watching. Take care. Bye.